Firefox is a 1982 film directed by Clint Eastwood. We have a screenplay by Alex Lasker and Wendell Wellman, and it's based on the novel Firefox by Craig Thomas. And we have a cast including Clint Eastwood, Freddie Jones, David Huffman, Warren Clarke. We also have John Ratzenberger in it a little bit, and it is because of Ratzenberger that I became aware of it. And unfortunately for me, it's not one of those films where I wouldn't have given it the time of day otherwise, but then I found a hidden gem. For me, it didn't appeal. I gave it a chance and it didn't work, but I will say it's not my kind of film anyway. And again, sometimes not my kind of films can end up being really enjoyable for me. So I will share my thoughts, but take what I'm saying with a pinch of salt. I do have plenty of things to praise about it, but my overall experience was not one of enjoyment. But if it sounds like your kind of film, I'd say check it out anyway. It just didn't work for me. This is about a retired Air Force pilot who is sent to the Soviet Union to steal this plane, this prototype jet fighter. And needless to say, that's not an easy task, and there are obstacles along the way, and a lot of characters. There are a lot of characters in this. Not a criticism, just an observation. And for me, the subject matter does not appeal to me. It's also not something I know that much about. That's not to say you need to know about any of the situations or aircrafts and anything like that, but I think it probably would help if you're at least interested in that, or if you have a passion for that. And obviously I don't, so that part of it didn't appeal to me. Basically the narrative I didn't find interesting, but take it with a pinch of salt, because if it appeals to you in concept, you might like the execution. It is quite long, it's over 2 hours, and while I don't think it needed to be over 2 hours, I wouldn't have been that bothered if it was maybe 1:40, even 1:50. It definitely does seem like the kind of film that benefits from being longer, but maybe it was just a little bit too long. But otherwise, the narrative seems well handled. It just didn't appeal to me. The characters are fine. Clint Eastwood as Major Mitchell Gant. Yeah, likeable character. Enjoyed following his journey well enough. He wasn't an unlikable protagonist, but I didn't necessarily emotionally connect with him. But great performance. Great performances all round. We have some really great costumes. We have some really atmospheric scenes. Again, I don't know if they're accurate, but they feel atmospheric. They feel like they could be realistic, and I guess that in itself is kind of scary. We have some really powerful sounds in this of the aircrafts and things, so it does seem like it could be quite an immersive experience. It's just that it's not an experience into which I wish to be immersed. So I don't really have much of value to say about this film, let's be honest, but I watched it, so I'm sharing my thoughts, and there are a lot of positives. The sounds are brilliant. The costumes look great, the performances are fantastic, the characters seem well written, the camera work is great, the narrative seems decent, it seems to flow well. I don't know if it will be 100% realistic. If anybody has any thoughts on that, please feel free to share. I guess for me, the biggest issue is just that I didn't care for the story. And sure, going into it, I knew that could be the case. I knew there was probably a high potential for that to be the case. But one of the great things about watching films based on the cast, I'm currently watching every feature film featuring the Cheers cast, and in doing so I have discovered quite a lot of films where I ordinarily wouldn't care. I wouldn't look at them, and then I've really thoroughly enjoyed them. So it's never quite clear going into a film whether I will end up loving it or not. And unfortunately on this occasion, I didn't love Firefox. But that being said, if it sounds like something that might appeal to you, then I'd say maybe it's worth checking out.